Welcome, everybody, to another week here with me, Aziz Gul. Hello, Instagram Live. Hello, Facebook Live. Hello, Accelerate with Aziz community. I'm so excited to have you guys with me here today as we go through today's topic, which is 7 mistakes that most new entrepreneurs make. And it's such an important topic. How we start determines oftentimes how we finish, right? And that's one of the things that we're going to get into in today's session is how do we start? How do we start right? How do we start well? How do we start fast? How do we start stable, right? Because if we want to build a skyscraper, an empire of a building, we have to build it on strong foundations that will have resilience, that will have staying power. As we've mentioned before, we adapt here at Accelerate with Aziz, the Jack Ma, the Elon Musk philosophy of what will this business look like in 10 years, in 50 years, in 100 years, right? We are building the business plan for the next 100 years. We are not looking to ride the trends, the waves that will be gone in 6 months, a year, 3 years. We are looking for the fundamentals that will not change for decades, for generations to come. So for those of you that are joining us inside the Accelerate with Aziz community, you obviously get access to the full experience and can see what I'm sharing with the rest of the guys now. So I'm just going to go ahead here and share my screen with the guys in the community so that we can see the theme of today's session, which is the 7 common mistakes that new entrepreneurs make. And we're going to go through them step by step, one by one, to make sure that you did not make these mistakes in your business. If you are growing your business and you haven't covered one of these fundamentals, there is still time. There is still time to go back, to change something, to fix it, to iterate, to pivot. Because remember, business is a series of failures that eventually translates into an overnight success. And so if we are not consistently failing forward, creating that feedback loop, learning from our mistakes, finding new ways to do old things, then we are not innovating, we are not growing. And if we are not growing, we are dying. So to get into today's topic inside the Accelerate with Aziz community, 7 common mistakes new entrepreneurs make. And the first one we are going to be talking about is failing to plan. Yes, that is number 1 on the list. Entrepreneurs, you might be surprised, fail to plan, because all of us, we tend to be high performers. We tend to be, these kind of type A alpha personalities that want to take action, that want to get things done. And often, we find our success accidentally, I think, when we start, because we are so kind of motivated, so excited, and we create these results, that initial traction, through sheer brute force. And oftentimes that is what is necessary in the beginning stages to get that initial traction. But to get from that initial traction, from go to market to the next phase, which is actually finding product market fit so that we can create predictable revenue, is not possible through sheer brute force. Right? We have to be smart about it. We have to be strategic about it. Remember what I said in one of the previous sessions, those of us that focus on hard work, all we will attract is more hard work. And so what we need to do is understand that our minds can outwork our labor. And we need to focus on diligent planning, because jumping into a business without a clear strategy can only lead to confusion, a lack of direction, a lack of clarity, and ultimately poor decision making. And I think, I was speaking to someone today, and we were talking about, Mark Zuckerberg, and how he has the same hoodie and the same pair of jeans that he wears, day in and day out. And Steve Jobs did a similar thing. He wears his iconic black turtleneck and his blue jeans. And this was their strategy. This was their plan to eliminate frivolous decision making, because they needed to make so many important, integral decisions during their day, game-changing, business-changing, life-altering decisions, that they did not want to waste a decision on what do I need to wear today, because there is only a finite amount of decision energy that we create, that we are allotted, that we have access to in any given day. And so to be the most effective decision maker that we can, we need to limit frivolous decisions. And we limit frivolous decisions the best by planning, right? And so this doesn't mean that we're going to create this, 3-year, 5-year business plan with financial projections and all of these things. Like, the banks and traditional lenders have made us believe that that is the way that you access funding. That is the way that, you get people to buy into your opportunity. But in actual fact, you don't know that those results are going to be accurate. You don't know that the basis on which you creating those projections is going to pan out that way, because the businesses that are using business plans and financial projections are 3, 5, 10, 15, 20, 50 years old. And so they have already product market fit. They have already predictable revenue, historical financials, which they can base those projections on in a very accurate way. But for us, we need to focus on what is the strategy that is going to deliver the next result. That's what we need to do. What are the tactics we're going to implement according to the strategy that we've chosen? That is the thing that we are going to action, right? What is the unit metrics, not the financial projections? What are the unit metrics that are going to define my success? My most important numbers per department, right? If I put you, imagine this, if I put you today on a desert island for 3 months, 90 days, and I told you there is no access you can get to your business to tell you that everything is okay, except I deliver to you every single morning 4 numbers. What are those numbers? What are the most important numbers per department that lets you know every single day in your absence that everything is okay in the business? And this is why planning is such a critical component of our success. And failing to plan properly is why most entrepreneurs fail. Why 90% of businesses fail within the first 12 months. Why 99% of businesses fail within the first 3 years, because they plan to fail. Abraham Lincoln once said, if I have, I think it was 6 hours, you guys can correct me in the comments if I'm mistaken, but if I have 6 hours to chop down a tree, I would spend the first 4 hours, or was it 5.5? Anyway, the majority of it, right? Pareto principle, 80% of the time, sharpening the axe. That is how important planning is. That is how important strategy is. And so if you want access to the best practice strategies, the step-by-step systems to create the action plan that will deliver the results that you are looking for in your business, then you can find that inside Accelerated Aziz. Aziz Siraj joined us. Thanks for joining us. I'm sending you away right now. Much love. Appreciate you joining. So number 2 on our list, the 7 most common mistakes that new entrepreneurs make. The next mistake we're going to go into after failing to plan is undervaluing your products and services. And now, if you've been following my content on social media, on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube, on the podcast, you will know that I've been talking about price and pricing strategy extensively over the last couple of days, because it is such an integral part of your and my success in the world of business, in the world of investment, in the path and journey of wealth creation. And so a lot of times we connect our pricing and the worth of our product, our service, our offer with our own self-worth. And the problem with that is that we undermine ourselves, we underestimate ourselves, and therefore we undervalue our products and services. And we are so desperate to create a transaction that we are willing to undercut every single other person in the marketplace, including ourselves. And oftentimes we will notice that 80% of our clients, we pay them to do their work, right? Because we just want to keep the numbers ticking over. We want to keep the turnover turning, right? And the harsh reality, the truth that I'm going to give to you, that I'm going to drop right now, is that you are setting your prices too low. You are undermining your own profitability and devaluing your offer, right? When you discount your offer in the marketplace, you tell the marketplace that I'm not worth that. I'm only worth this, right? You say that I'm a commodity. There are many of me. So pick me because I'm the cheapest. And when you ask the marketplace to pick you because you're the cheapest, what kind of clients do you think that you attract? Cheap clients and difficult clients, not players with money. And so beyond just trying to keep the turnover turning, the reason, the intent, the ultimate objective of being in business is to turn a profit, right? And making profit is unnatural. So in order to turn a profit, to not trade like for like, but to have an advantage, an edge in the marketplace that produces a profit, we need to deliver value beyond the monetary value that we receive for that product, that service, that offer, right? And you cannot deliver that value. You cannot generate, manufacture, create that profit if you are undervaluing your products and services. And again, this is another reason why most entrepreneurs don't make it. They don't make it because they're so desperate to get the sale. They're so willing to discount their worth and the worth of their product or service that they are willing to pay their clients to work for them. Okay, so that's number two. Number three that we're going to get into today is neglecting cash flow management. Again, another topic that I've been stressing over the last couple of days because, you know, as many of you might know, those of you who know me personally, I'm a numbers guy, love the numbers, love the investment side. And that's ultimately why I'm here, right? I'm here helping you with your business, whether you're starting and you need clarity, whether you're growing and you need the systems of scale, or whether you're looking for that exit plan. And I'm here to support you and help you create that exit plan that extracts the profit from your business and ultimately shifts you and your identity, your self-worth from an operator, from an entrepreneur into an investor, right? That is why we are in this game. We are in the game of business to make a profit. And we make that profit so that we can turn those profits into income producing assets that we invest in to deliver us passive income without our active involvement, right? So I want us to be very clear on what is the path here, right? You're working a job, you need to exit your job, you need to build your side hustle, you need to turn your side hustle into a scalable business, you need to turn your scalable business into massive profits that can assist you, support you, enable you to buy income producing assets, to invest in opportunities that produce a sufficient, a higher return, that ultimately buy back your time, let money work on your behalf, and make money while you sleep. Okay, so in order for all of this to happen, we cannot neglect cash flow. And neglecting cash flow is what many, 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 many entrepreneurs do, and what they are doing wrong. It is one of the 7 cardinal sins of startups, right? Because what does it lead to? It leads to financial problems, even if the business is profitable on paper, right? It doesn't matter that you're getting in 100, 200, a million, 2 million, 10 million, 20 million in 30 days' time. If you have no cash flow today, you are screwed. Right? There is no other way to put it. I'm sure many of you have heard the saying, cash is king. Yes, cash is king. Cash flow is emperor. And if you want to build an empire, you need to, I don't know if any of you guys knew this. I learned this a few years back. I always knew, you got this thing, a king and an emperor. And I always thought they were kind of interchangeable. And one day I was actually on a tour. I think I can't remember. I might have been in Spain, might have been in Turkey. Anyway, and the tour guide was explaining to us that the difference between a king and an emperor is that a king rules over one region, right? Could be a country as an example, right? An emperor or a king or queen, emperor, empress, let's be PC about it, right? And an emperor rules over 3 continents, right? So that's how big you have to be from an empire perspective, right? So if your vision is to build an empire, then you need to manage your cash flow properly. You cannot neglect cash flow, right? And again, being able to not only plan strategically, what is your next step, valuing and pricing your product properly in the marketplace so that you can manufacture profit, and being able to manage your cash flow effectively are all things that we address step by step, holistically, inside Accelerate with Aziz. The next thing that I want to talk about is the lone wolf syndrome, right? And I think this is something that we maybe acquire in our schooling years, in our upbringing. We learn at school that you need to figure it out on your own. You can't work with anyone else. If you copy anyone else, that's cheating. We have all of these negative beliefs reinforced around this idea that we are meant to be isolated. We are meant to figure it out alone, and we're meant to do it perfectly the first time, because that's how you get an A. And if you fail, you fail, and failing is wrong, right? And this is self-sabotage. It's nothing more than that, right? And so we bring this, and I suppose if you're an employee, look, even if you're an employee, you still need to be a team player, right? But I think more so in business, this idea that, we cannot create anything new. We are just iterating. We are just enhancing. We are just innovating. We making something old, something new. We borrowing something from a different industry and applying it, to a different problem in a different area, right? These are the type of things that create success in the world of business. And these are the exact things that we are taught for 12, 13, 14, 15, 20 years not to do. You must not copy. You must not ask for help. You must not borrow from others, right? You must not fail, right? But without experimentation, without failing, we can't figure out what works. If we are always waiting to do the perfect thing right the first time, we're always looking to identify the exact vehicle that is going to take us from A to B without testing, without any feedback loop, then we are going to lose, because losing is not failing. Losing is giving up, right? Failing is one thing, but if you can stand up after the failure and try again and learn from the mistake, right? That's progress, right? But if you choose, because remember, business is not a finite game. A finite game, like a football match is, it has a start time and an end time. And when the end time comes, you won or you lost. But business is an infinite game, right? Meaning you only lose when you decide to stop. And so if you feel like you've lost, if you feel like a loser, if you feel like you failed, then you need to take a hard look in the mirror, because the only person to blame then is you, because you've made the decision to stop trying, right? So that's the importance of cash flow management in the business. And whether you want to be king or queen or emperor or empress, you must learn to manage cash flow effectively, because cash flow is king, is queen, is emperor, is empress, right? And then, oh, sorry, I went on a tangent. So number 4, trying to do everything yourself. This is your lone wolf syndrome. This is why it doesn't work, because we are conditioned for decades to feel and think this way. And so what do? We avoid delegating, right? And we try to do everything ourselves. We try to figure out everything ourselves. And all we end up doing is burning out, burning time, burning cash, and missing out opportunities for true growth, which comes from learning and progress, from the feedback loop of life and business. And so we don't have to do it alone. Inside Accelerate with Aziz, you have access to me as an advisor, you have access to a network, a community, you have access to content to support you, to educate you, right? This is your team. This is your arsenal. These are your tools to get you where you want to go inside Accelerate with Aziz. Okay, so that takes us now to number 5. We're almost there, 5 of 7. Number 5 is ignoring market research. All right, so launching a product or service without properly understanding what the customer need, what the demand is in that marketplace, can result in tons of wasted time and effort. All right, because essentially what you're doing is you're creating a product or a service or an offer that you like, that you want, but no one else does. And now you've created this thing, you've spent, 3 months coming up with the idea, 6 months building the website, 9 months recruiting the team, only to figure out that you are a solution without a problem. And now you need to go marketplace shopping to try and find a demand that meets your supply. As opposed to working smart instead of hard, because now you're going to work hard, you're going to sweat, you're going to hustle, you're going to grind to try and find that marketplace, to try and make your offer fit, right? To try and manufacture that demand, as opposed to working smart, identifying the problem, quantifying the total addressable market, and then understanding and reverse engineering that problem into a solution which makes sense, not only which makes sense for that market, but the particular upper echelon, the niche in that market that are the players with money, right? Because remember, we do not serve difficult clients. We do not serve cheap clients. We sometimes serve sophisticated clients because they bring a lot of volume, right? But ideally, we serve players with money, right? And this then leads us into number 6 very nicely, which is not defining your target audience correctly. And this is so important. I mean, if you go through the trainings inside Accelerate with Aziz, we touch on this in the introductory section, in the mindset section, in the lead generation section, in the conversion section. We just go over and over and over it again, because it is such an important part. And it's like nobody gets it, right? People are spending thousands and thousands on ads and complaining the ads are not working, the ads are not converting, but you haven't done your targeting properly, right? You've created offer after offer, you've changed headline after headline, you've changed conversion system to conversion system, you've optimized your sales system to death, and you can't figure out why you can't scale, but you've never taken the time to define your damn target market. Then you ask yourself why. All right? So trying to appeal to everybody instead of focusing on a very specific target market can dilute all of your marketing efforts. This is exactly what I'm saying here, right? You need to niche down. Have you ever heard the saying, the riches are in niches, right? And they say it for a reason because it's true, right? And, I've had this experience myself in business where the more generic your offer is, the more vanilla your offer is, the more it just gets swallowed up in the noise of the marketplace. And so rather have people that love your offer and hate your offer than have the politically correct offer that no one gives a damn about, right? So you need to be uber specific, right? So for instance, you could say you're a baker and you could say, okay, so I provide baked goods. Great, that's nice. Or you could say, I provide gluten-free breakfast wraps for vegan entrepreneurs. You see the difference? You see how it lands differently, how it resonates differently. Like when you hear it, you either raise your hand and you say, oh, that's me, or you say, hell no, that's going to taste like crap. Right? So our words have power. Our words create our positioning. Our words are a filter for our ideal audience. And we cannot use the right words if we don't first understand who our target audience is. And now wrapping up, I like to keep these sessions to 30 minutes. So we're going now to the last one, number 7. After defining your target audience is the biggest mistake, or one of the biggest 7 common mistakes that new entrepreneurs make when they get into business, is neglecting marketing and sales. They are product obsessed, right? I think it was Vusi Tembakwaya that was saying, first-time founders, they are obsessed with product. And then once they've perfectized product to death, they then go and find a market. Right? That's what we were talking about earlier. That was number 5, ignoring market research. Second-time founders, they focus on distribution because they understand that if cash flow is emperor or empress, distribution is the treasury, right? And marketing and sales is distribution. And if you figure out that piece, if you reverse engineer the demand into distribution, the product doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter, right? As long as it fulfills the way in which, as long as it works the way it's supposed to work, right? It doesn't have to be, the unicorn, never been seen before, all the bells and whistles, right? If the marketing and the sales is channels and the distribution is sorted and the packaging is correct and the product does or the service does what it's supposed to do, you will have no problem scaling your business. And so focusing solely on product development without strong marketing and sales strategy can lead to very slow growth and missed revenue opportunities. This is the mistake you are making. You are so focused and so precious about your product or your service, and you are forgetting the most important piece. And to a certain extent, we can't blame ourselves, because a lot of us, when we get into entrepreneurship, we do so on a technical basis. We do so as an operator, as a specialist. Maybe we were an architect or an engineer or some other kind of professional. And then we kind of just, stop working for a boss and become full-time self-employed. And so we are still just applying our craft, right? And that's the difference between an entrepreneur, business owner, and a professional, is that a professional is still trading time for money. They are still doing the fulfillment, but must also do the marketing and the sales, except that's the piece that they don't do. And that's the piece they don't invest in. That's the piece they don't want to learn. And then they want to complain about how, my product or my service is not working, my revenue is not what it's supposed to be, my growth is slow. But you're not willing to invest in the skills. You're not willing to invest in the mastery. You're not willing to invest in the growth drivers of business, right? Because at some point you need to stop being an operator. You need to stop being a specialist and become an entrepreneur, right? You need to make yourself redundant in the fulfillment so that you can grow the business. That is your job, right? And that is what we do in Accelerate with Aziz. We help transform you from a specialist, from an operator, into an actual entrepreneur, into a serial entrepreneur, into an investor, right? But you must be willing to invest in yourself, to invest in your skills and the mastery of marketing and sales. And I don't care whether you in tech, whether you in private equity or investments, whether you run a bookstore, whether you're a dentist, whether you're a doctor, right? These are the fundamental skills every entrepreneur needs to succeed. Fundamental. And that's what we do here, fundamentals, not trends. And so it doesn't matter what you do. The only way to monetize what you do is sales and marketing. And so everybody must learn this if you decide to be an entrepreneur. And we will help you get there inside Accelerate with Aziz, right? If you want to get further and go faster, then join Accelerate with Aziz. Okay, so that's all we have time for today. Thank you very much for taking the time and investing in the session on the 7 common mistakes new entrepreneurs make. I hope you got a lot of insight from it, a ton of value. And like I said at the very beginning, if you are making any of these mistakes, there is time to change. There is time to pivot. You can take this moment, this session, as feedback and iterate, create progress, because progress and profit go hand in hand. So I'm Aziz Gul. I look forward to seeing you in the next session. And in the interim, like this video, share it with someone who needs it. Follow for more public service announcement to help you make more money, start your business, grow your business, go from an entrepreneur to an investor. And if you're ready to take the next step, then join Accelerate with Aziz. Until next time, Aziz Gul. Ciao for now.